Level 1, 11B, Infantryman. On paper, you're the most powerful. In practice, you dig a hole, you sleep in it 3 days, then you fill it back in. You are 11B Infantry, not special operations, not elite. The bottom of a very tall ladder. This ladder's bottom beats most people's ceiling. You are 19, 6 months in. You shoot, you move, you communicate, you suffer quietly. You call it professionalism. Nobody tells you the ladder exists yet. Nobody points up. You're in the mud, in the heat. Everything is heavy. Nothing is comfortable. The guy next to you is also miserable. Neither of you says it. You learn to read terrain. You learn to hold a sector of fire. You learn that sleep is a resource. You manage it like ammunition. You spend it carefully. You never have enough. Your unit deploys. You watch sergeants make decisions under pressure. You watch some of them freeze. Others get very quiet, very precise. You start to understand the difference. You file it away. You also learn something nobody briefs. The job isn't glamorous. It's maintenance. It's vigilance. It's doing the same thing correctly, the 50th time, same as the first, in bad weather, carrying too much, with not enough sleep, for reasons that aren't always explained to you. You learn to be okay with that. Some guys aren't. They leave. You stay. Every ranger who breached at 0200. Every Green Beret who lived in a village. Every Delta operator. Moving like the building wasn't ready. They started here, in the mud, filling holes. The Army runs on calibrated suffering. Like a river runs on gravity. The moment it stops, something downstream dies. You are at the beginning. You don't choose where it goes. You choose whether to stay in the water. Level 2, Airborne. The jump light goes red. You're in the door of a C-130, parachute packed by a stranger you'll never meet. You volunteered for this. That's what Airborne establishes first. You sign up for discomfort on purpose. Not ordered, not bribed. The option appeared and you raised your hand. The Army notices. This is how the filter begins. 3 weeks at Fort Moore. You learn exits, you learn body position, you learn PLFs, parachute landing falls, hitting the ground correctly at speed. You practice them until they're automatic, until the ground doesn't hurt anymore, until your body just does it. 5 jumps, day, night, mass tactical. You earn your wings. Outside the military, nobody cares. Inside, it registers. Not for what it is, for what it signals. You'd rather jump out than stay in. That sounds like courage. It isn't, exactly. It's preference. Some people prefer safety. Some prefer the door. The Army needs both. Only one ends up where this ladder goes. Nobody tells you that yet. You just know you raised your hand. The light turns green, you go out the door. Level 3, 75th Ranger Regiment. Week 2 of RASP. The man beside you just quit. He was faster, stronger, more deployments than you. More time in service. He knew what was coming, better than you. He quit anyway, quietly. Cadre took him aside. RASP continued like he was never there. For the 75th Ranger Regiment, he wasn't. 8 weeks, 65% attrition. What breaks people isn't any single event. It's accumulation. Ruck march at 0300, 4 hours of sleep. Ruck march again. Land navigation. Alone. Dark. 45 pounds. Deadline that keeps moving. Marksmanship standards that don't lower because you're exhausted. Medical training tested when your hands are shaking. The question RASP is actually asking is simple. Will you function with nothing left? Not perform, function. Make the call, take the door, execute the task. When your body is filing complaints, when your brain is arguing for stopping, you graduate. Tan Beret, Ranger Scroll, most deployed unit in U.S. Special Operations. That's you. Your bag is never fully unpacked. You learn to live in 72-hour windows. Everything beyond that is speculation. You deploy. You see what the job actually is. Direct action raids, airfield seizures, parachute assaults into denied territory. Your battalion rehearses a mission 40 times. Then it happens. You hit the ground running. The word running is literal. You do this for years. Multiple deployments. You get very good at a specific kind of violence. Controlled, precise, fast. You develop a relationship with risk. Civilians don't have a word for it. Not fearlessness, not recklessness, something more like fluency. You speak the language of danger. It stops surprising you. You also get very good at coming home, at sitting at a table, at being the person who doesn't talk. The creed has one line. You'll say it until it stops sounding like language. I will never leave a fallen comrade. You'll find out the cost. You'll pay it. Again. Rangers lead the way. Not a slogan. You take the door. Everyone else walks through standing up. Level 4. Green Berets. 11 weeks in country. You know the elder's youngest son by name. Which roads are safe on market day? Where people go when they're afraid. You learn the language. 14 months of instruction. It still isn't enough. It's never enough. You use it anyway. Special Forces was created in 1952. The mission hasn't changed. Work with people. Understand their war. Help them fight it themselves. Conventional armies clear ground. Special Forces changes what the ground means. Your 12-man ODA is its own organism. Your medic operates in dirt floor buildings. Your comm sergeant builds encrypted satellite links under 4 minutes from the back of a pickup. Your weapons sergeant knows every rifle around, including the ones pointed at you. You spend months building a partner force, teaching, watching, correcting, one note at a time. Not lectures, conversations. You're not there to win their war. You're there until they don't need you. Tonight, Partner Force. 4th independent mission. They execute perfectly. You make one note, not a correction, a conversation. Nobody tells you how to feel when that happens. When the thing you built works without you. It doesn't feel like victory exactly, like watching a door open, one you spent months unlocking from inside. Special Forces doesn't win battles. It builds conditions that make battles unnecessary. Freedom built from inside a country lasts. Freedom delivered by outsiders doesn't. The contractor leaves. The family stays. You'll come back. This place becomes part of you. You'll carry it home, still there years later, Tuesday dinner table, completely unrelated conversation. Level 5, Navy SEALs. 53 degrees, 29 minutes in the water. Hands stopped working at minute 18. You don't need your hands, you need your swim buddy. Your compass board. 25 meters of silence between you and the dock. Bud/S is 24 weeks. Hell Week is 5.5 days. 4 hours of sleep, total. Boats over your head, cold water, instructors watching. Not for whether you can perform, whether you'll perform when everything says stop. 100 candidates enter, 25 finish. The bell sits in the courtyard. Anyone can ring it. Anytime. Day 1 or day 40. 3 rings and it's over. No shame, they say. You can come back. Most don't come back. The ones who don't ring it aren't tougher. They feel the same cold, the same pain, the same 3 a.m. voice. This is insane. Stop. They just make a different decision every hour for 5.5 days. That's the whole thing. You earn the trident. You get assigned to a team, East Coast or West Coast. You deploy. Maritime reconnaissance, direct action, counterterrorism, hostage rescue. You operate from sea, air, and land. The acronym was chosen deliberately. Nobody tells you what it costs. Not the physical cost. You knew about that. The other cost. The one that accumulates quietly. The deployments that stack up. The relationships that don't survive the operational tempo. The parts you left in the water. Didn't pick back up on the way out. You pay it anyway. You'd pay it again. You chose this. Every hour of Hell Week was a choice. Nothing that comes after is less of one. Tonight, coastal reconnaissance before a dawn strike. You surface 10 meters from the dock. No bubbles. 30 minutes of observation. Positions, rotations, weapon types, sight lines, every detail. Then back under. Nobody writes about tonight. The strike package gets the headline. The reconnaissance that made it survivable, not mentioned. You knew before you went in. You went in anyway. That's what the trident means. Level 6. DEVGRU/SEAL Team 6. 6 years, 2 deployments. You're among the best SEALs, either coast. Then, the invitation arrives. Green Team selection isn't physical. They know you can perform. 6 years prove that. What they want to know is different. Who are you? What do you do with no good option? What do you like when no one watches? The interview runs 3 hours. They ask about your childhood, finances, marriage, friendships, what you do for fun, what you think about your command, what you think about yourself. They want the truth, not the performance. Service record, line by line, every award, every incident, every decision under pressure, some not under pressure. All of them matter. Founded in 1980, Commander Richard Marcinko named it SEAL Team 6 to confuse Soviet intelligence. There were 2 teams. The deception worked. Green Team runs 6 to 8 months, 50% attrition. From operators already at the top. The ones who don't make it, go back. No announcement. No explanation. They just leave. You get your squadron assignment. Gold, silver, red, blue. Each has its own reputation, its own culture. You draft in like a sports franchise. Senior operators pick. You find out where you land. Tonight, international waters. 11 armed men. 2 hostages. Lower deck. Rope hits the deck. You're moving before your boots land. Maritime vessel takedown. Hundreds of times. Your body knows the difference. Rehearsal. Actual thing. 11 minutes. Both hostages alive. You don't think about what it means. You think about 2 seconds faster. Level 7. Delta Force / first SFOD-D. You didn't apply. You got a notification. Delta watches. For years. It identifies candidates. Rangers. Green Berets. Something hard to name. Competence under uncertainty. Making the right call when there is none. You can't manufacture it. You can't fake it long enough. A briefing appears in your unit. Attendance optional. You attend. The men running it say very little. You are given an address, a date. That's all. Selection is 1 month. Physical test first. Then land navigation. Distance increasing each day. Weight increasing. Time allowed shrinking. An 18-mile night ruck with 40 pounds. Then longer. Then heavier. The long walk. 40 miles. 45 pounds. Alone. No time given. You know only that faster is better. You never know if you are fast enough. Until it's over. 120 start. Rangers. Green Berets. Veterans with years of combat behind them. People who passed every hard thing. Every one. 12 to 14 finish. The 90% who don't fail for 2 reasons. Injury or a quiet decision. Alone. 2 a.m. to stop. Nobody sees it. Nobody announces it. You just stop walking and it's done. After selection. The selection board. They are not looking for aggression. Not bravado. Not the loudest voice. They want maturity, adaptability, the quiet professional, enormous capability, never announced. Arrogance ends careers here before they begin. Then, 6 months of operator training course. Marksmanship at a level. Can't be described. Tradecraft, surveillance, counter-surveillance, dead drops. The civilian skills of the intelligence world. Layered on top. Live fire hostage rescue. Real people in the room. You become operational. 4 Sabre squadrons, each with assault troops and a recon troop. The unit's size never announced. Its existence officially unacknowledged. The missions don't get announced either. Not after, not during. You develop a cover story. It's vague enough to be believed, boring enough that nobody follows up. You say it enough, it stops feeling like a lie. It becomes just what you say. In some measurable way, you are the most capable the US has ever produced. Nobody knows that. Nobody will know that. That's the deal you made. You made it without hesitation. Level 8, 160. SOAR / Night Stalkers. The valley is 11 miles long. Power lines not on any issued map. You know, you flew it 3 nights ago. No mission, just to know, before it mattered. That is the Night Stalkers. They fly the route before it's needed. Built after Operation Eagle Claw, 1980. 8 Americans dead in the Iranian desert. Helicopter failures. Command failures. The military looked at what went wrong. Built a unit. Never wrong that way again. You fly the MH-60M. Modified. Quieter than standard. 4-tube night vision. Darkness becomes green-lit detail. You fly tolerances that end conventional careers. 9 feet of rotor clearance. At speed. In darkness. Below radar. Into landing zones, marked by people who barely cleared in time. Your crew knows every valley, every power line, every structure taller than your rotor disc. Not from maps, from flying it. At night. Multiple times. Before any mission existed. Team on the X at 0218. 14 seconds early. Then holding altitude. Waiting. This is the part nobody briefs. You are 40 seconds out. You are always exactly 40 seconds out. That is the entire job. Already close when they call. Already turning when the transmission starts. They will call. Always. The only question? Are you already turning? Night Stalkers don't quit. It's the motto. It's also just a description of what happens. Level 9. Intelligence Support Activity. 11 weeks in this city. Cover identity. Local phone. Room above a hardware store. Same market every Thursday. Same coffee shop. Same route. Same newspaper. Same table by the window. Same order. Holding that is harder than RASP, harder than Hell Week, harder than the long walk. Those end. This you hold for months. No external pressure, no deadline, no one watching to see if you're breaking. You just have to be nobody, continuously, while watching everything. The cover story isn't just a story. You live it. You buy things the cover character would buy. You visit places the cover character would visit. You laugh at things they would find funny. For months, you become a person who doesn't exist. When you leave, that person disappears. No record, no trace, no goodbye. Nobody tells you how that sits. You file it away. Same as everything else. The Intelligence Support Activity was established in 1981, after Eagle Claw exposed the gap. Missions launched blind. Every time. People paid for that with their lives. ISA was built to close the gap permanently, operating months ahead of the shooters, finding the pattern of life, mapping every weakness. To people who will never know your name, you watch, every day, the target's movements, his contacts, his schedule, the routes he uses, the routes he avoids, the windows he closes, the ones he leaves open, the phone he uses at home, the one he uses outside. Small things, invisible things, things that only register with time. Enough time. Long enough. Today he made a mistake. Small. Invisible. Unless you had been watching this long. You were watching. One encoded message. Apartment packed in 40 minutes. By morning, you are somewhere else entirely. Somewhere downstream. Because of 11 weeks of being nobody. The right people go home. That's always been enough. Level 10. CIA Special Activities Center / Special Operations Group. No rank for this. The CIA's Special Activities Center, Special Operations Group. Recruits from Delta, from DEVGRU. Deployable where military forces legally can't go. If compromised, the government denies all knowledge. There is no uniform, no identification connecting you to anything. The title is Paramilitary Operations Officer. It appears in no public directory. A year and a half at the farm, Virginia. You are not learning new physical skills. You have those. You are learning to be an intelligence officer. Aliases, cover stories, asset recruitment, how to build a relationship over months until they trust you with dangerous things. Clandestine communication, how to pass information. City where everyone is watching, how to vanish. How to be unremarkable in 4 languages. Both things at once. Same body, same moment. The operator and the case officer, where the wrong answer gets people killed. Teams of 6 or fewer. Some missions, 1 person. Places the military legally can't enter. You go. You work with indigenous forces. You build networks. You find targets. You pass them forward. Sometimes you go through the door. The CIA Memorial Wall. More stars from SOG than anywhere else. The ladder you climbed ends here. Not with ceremony, not with a rank. A sealed file, a changed identity, a number that forwards somewhere you can't describe. You started in a hole in Georgia. 65 pounds, filling it back in when you were done. The work was invisible then. It's invisible now. Nothing about the visibility changed, only the scale of what you're protecting. Nobody knows your name. That is not a side effect. That is the point. That is what the whole ladder was building. Every level gave you something. Infantry gave you foundation. Airborne gave you willingness. Rangers gave you precision. Green Berets gave you patience. SEALs gave you the choice. DEVGRU gave you standard. Delta gave you silence. And CIA gave you the final thing. No one to tell. The hole never stopped needing to be dug. You just can't see the bottom anymore.